Around the country, left-wingers are doing some serious soul-searching, re-examining their beliefs in the aftermath of an election in which they were defeated at every level of government, while their ideas were utterly rejected almost everywhere, and their personal integrity was impugned, plus their hopes and dreams crushed, while their opponents danced over the wreckage, breathing in the sweet, sweet perfume of their suffering and drinking the honeyed nectar of their tears and laughing in loud voices, saying, ha, 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 ha. In academia, Columbia College professor Ludwig von Fatuus re-examined left-wing behavior in a poignant essay in the New York Times, a former newspaper. The essay read in part, quote, "The truth is, on college campuses, we have been one-sided and small-minded and have closed ourselves off from ordinary Americans in a virtual bubble, and it's just not enough. We need to make the bubble real and possibly build it out of iron so we can't even see what's going on outside. Also, when we shout down anyone who disagrees with us, we need to update our amplification equipment since some of their ideas are still audible," unquote. In the news media, CNN anchorman Wolf Mendacity told his colleagues, quote, "Clearly, the problem is fake news and how to get more people to believe it. I know some say that when we call people racist and sexist and anti-Semitic, we should have proof that our charges are true. But that would mean completely abandoning our journalistic standards and traditions. Also, it sounds like an awful lot of work, maybe even harder than making stuff up, which can take almost an hour and be very tiring," unquote. Hollywood VIPs also joined in the self-examination. Actress Lena Privilege, star of the hit HBO series Sluts and author of the memoir It's a Hit Even If No One Watches It Because I Say So, penned a series of tweets saying, quote, "Only a bunch of racist buttheads would elect someone who constantly calls people names. We should kick the crap out of every person who supported this bully, and anyone who believes in his politics of exclusion should not be allowed to work in show business," unquote. Ms. Privilege later announced she was checking into a rehab clinic in order to be with her fans. Former corrupt Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has denied the electoral losses were her fault, saying, quote, "I am calling for a recount because I cannot accept the election of a man who would not have accepted the election of a woman who will not accept the election of a man who would not accept my election. I am, however, accepting donations to my foundation, and while I can no longer promise an ambassadorship in return, for $1,000, I'll come to your home and do your dishes while singing Danny Boy," unquote. Mrs. Clinton did say she was committed to changing her life in the aftermath of her defeat. She said her first step would be to form an exploratory committee for her presidential campaign in 2020. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shape, tipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray, it makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
Song never gets old. It's just better every time I hear it. All right, it's Mailbag Eve, a famous holiday. Tomorrow is the mailbag. You must subscribe to be in the mailbag, but if you subscribe for just a lousy $8 a month, you can send in your questions and we will answer them all. Personal questions. You know that I got an email from a lady. I don't know what to do about this, actually. I got an email from a lady who looks very attractive, who is black and conservative, who heard somebody ask the question saying he was white but was attracted to black women. We couldn't find any black conservatives. So now we've got to find a way to link these two people up. So the guy who wrote me that question should email me, and well, I'll put you guys in touch, and you can take care of yourself. I don't want to know what happens after that. This is a full-service podcast. You know, we match it up. Subscribe for just $8. You find the love of your life. All right. It's true. She really did. And she was nice looking. All right. Never mind. By the way, Dave Rubin's report his interview with me is now up. And it must be, we talk a lot about God and atheism, and Dave has a lot of atheists in his audience. I must have said something really intelligent because the atheists have been attacking me all day. How could you say? So I thought I must have said something really good. Believe me, if I did, it was totally an accident. Don't blame me. All right, we're going to talk about Muslims, basically, in the aftermath of that Ohio incident, because I really the way these stories are covered now has become so rote that we almost don't notice how stupid it is. And I really want to talk about that. Before we do have to pay a little bit of attention to Donald Trump and the transition, because I have to say there's something getting to be almost surreal. I mean, I know there's an overused word for you, but something getting to be almost surreal about this transition, because all the important stuff that's happening is great. I mean, I love the guys he's picking. Jeff Sessions, I love the guy, DeVos for education. Yesterday, he picked for health and human services this guy, the House Budget Committee Chairman, Tom Price, who has been a vocal opponent of Obamacare and has even proposed his own law, his own version of how we would supply people with health care without forcing them on government. It provides people with tax incentives to sign up for insurance. Do we have that cut that I sent in? That was the last cut. Yeah, he explained why. He was asked, well, isn't that the same thing? But he explained why it wasn't.
It couldn't be more different. Obamacare puts the government in charge. We put people in charge. We put patients in charge. What we say is that the patient, every single American, ought to have the opportunity to purchase the coverage that they want for themselves, not that the government forces them to buy. You think about what we're moving toward. We're moving toward a system where the federal government defines every single thing about your health coverage, about every single American's health care. And as I mentioned before, when the federal government has the ability, the power to decide what health care is, then it has the power to decide what health care isn't. And if you think something is health care that the federal government doesn't think is health care, the federal government always wins in that equation.
So this is great. I mean, he's appointing people who are good people. This guy's an orthopedic surgeon as well as a congressman. Who are good people who are set up to do the things that he promised would get done, repealing and replacing Obamacare, one of them. It's really exciting. Even the things that I'm worried about, like one of the things I'm worried about is that Trump is basically at heart a Democrat, and I'm afraid he'll spend too much money. But so far, his infrastructure plan looks like a really clever idea that's still taking shape, and I'm not sure how it's going to come out, and infrastructure is always very difficult because people picture all these shovel-ready jobs, but they don't really use shovels anymore to build infrastructure. They use these machines, and the guys who handle the machines are these technicians, and there are like 4 of them on a it doesn't really create as many jobs as it used to, and as people think it does. But still, the thing that he's doing is, again, using tax incentives. During the Obama administration, I don't want to get too much in the high weeds about this, but during the Obama administration, a lot of people who did not trust Obama as steward of the economy and steward of the country kept their money out of the country. And I'm talking about trillions of dollars out of the country. Trump is trying to arrange it so that these guys say, okay, we'll come back in. You're not going to regulate us to death. You're not going to hold up our plans. You're not going to destroy our businesses with your regulations. We'll bring our money back in. If that money floods in, there will be jobs, and that'll work. So far, all the important stuff he's doing really well. Then these tweets, these nutball tweets, I don't even understand why somebody doesn't just take his phone. There's this recount effort on. I don't even know, to be honest with you. This is Jill Stein, who strikes me as just a complete flapdoodle. I mean, it's like, somebody needs to put her in a cage somewhere. It's like, where's Jill? Put her in the cage. She sleeps better in the cage. It's like, somebody just needs to cage train this woman. And she's calling for a recount in Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania. I think she missed the Pennsylvania deadline. Hillary Clinton, who said the worst possible thing, she called it horrific, that Donald Trump would think about questioning the results of an election. She has joined in this recount effort. No one seems to feel, except some right-wing talk show hosts who are making people panic about it. No one seems to feel that there's just too many votes separating them out. It's not going to happen. I don't even think they're going to pull it off in some of these places. I think it's just Jill Stein's way of raising money, paying off her campaign debt or something. And by the way, if Jill Stein hadn't been in the race, Hillary Clinton would have won. In some of these states, I mean, she took enough votes from Hillary Clinton to prevent her from winning. So the whole thing is crazy. So then Trump comes out and he tweets, oh, I would have won even the popular vote if millions of illegals hadn't voted. Which is like, huh? What? So poor Katrina Peterson. Remember Katrina Peterson was his spokeswoman for a while? She goes on Megyn Kelly. And Megyn Kelly must do this for sport. Like tearing apart Katrina Peterson, trying to defend Donald Trump tweets is like what you do just to get in shape for the real interviews. So, listen to this. It's embarrassing.
Where does he get his evidence that millions of illegal immigrants in this election, that millions of people voted illegally?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I mean, you can look at the Daily Caller back in October wrote an article about showing what voter fraud looks like, and they listed 23 states and the instances that happened there. You can go back to the LA Times about a year ago where they talked about Governor Jerry Brown's voter motor registration, which automatically had people
So it's an
register to
assumption.
vote.
It's a supposition
and they said
without
there were
actual
2 million.
proof.
Well, but there have been instances, like in Iowa, there was a woman who was convicted and prosecuted for voting, and she was an illegal alien.
These
things do happen.
A woman does not equal millions, and millions possible months or a year earlier does not make it actually happen on November 8th.
Right.
Well, I also think that's something we should look at. You know, the argument here is that you can't prove it. Well, how about we disprove it?
Why do you want anyone looking at anything when your team won?
I mean, really, that's a very good question, you know. But I mean, it's so easy. I called her Katrina Peterson. It's Pearson, right? Is that what it is? Katrina Pearson. I mean, what I think all these people who substitute for Trump, who speak for Trump, really just need to come up with one response, like for his tweets, because his tweets are just these dopey things that he does. You know, they just sort of come out, yeah, the guy's crazy. He is one crazy mo. You know, I mean, like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. They should just blow it off. So today, and the other thing, of course, is that the way the press reacts. Now, listen, as somebody who's been around journalism most of my life, I have to tell you, this is news when there's no news. This is news when there's no news, and Trump is very good at that. So today he tweets that flag burning is disgusting and should be punishable by a year in jail or loss of citizenship. You know, now I actually believe you should lose your citizenship for certain things, like if your car alarm goes off in the middle of the night and you don't stop it. I think you should actually be exiled from the. It's like you are exiled from our country. You know. However, the press goes nuts about this is unconstitutional because the Supreme Court has said that flag burning is protected speech. But Hillary Clinton in 2005 proposed an anti-flag burning law, and the punishment was a year in jail, $100,000, I think, fine or a year in jail. So it's not that crazy, but it's just like he's doing so well at his transition. I mean, the transition is actually, I'm really impressed as somebody who voted for him with great, you know, I had to wrestle with my conscience a long time before I thought I'm going to vote for this guy because Hillary Clinton is so corrupt and Obama has corrupted the government, made my decision. But I'm thrilled with what he's doing so far. Obviously, he hasn't actually done anything, but I'm thrilled with his appointments. But what the heck? You know, I just, you know, Ben Shapiro has this thing all the time, good Trump, bad Trump. But I think it's all one guy, you know. I think the same guy. It's like, it's not Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's kind of like Heckle, you know. It's kind of like Jide. He's just one guy who does these crazy things. But actually, listen, if he says stupid stuff for 4 or 8 years and does great stuff, I'm good. That's fine with me. So I can live with that. But it is going to be extremely entertaining. All right, let's talk about Ohio State. This is really, really interesting. Thank God it wasn't any worse than it is. We're not talking about a terrible tragedy. One of the reasons I do want to talk about it is because we don't have to deal with the bodies. It's, I think, 11 people injured. Bad enough, but still, a student this is in Columbus, Ohio, at Ohio State University. It was Abdul Razak Ali Artan. Drives his car into a bunch of people and then gets out and goes after them with a knife. Cuts up people after hurting them with the car. There is a campus cop who was attending to something else. The campus cop confronts the guy. The guy charges and shouts at him, says, "Put down the knife." The guy charges him with the knife. Campus cop shoots him, okay? So Tim Kaine, you remember Tim Kaine? Does anybody remember Tim Kaine? He was going to be the vice president if Hillary Clinton won. Yeah, I know. Remember Hillary Clinton? She was never mind. But Tim Kaine tweets out, "So help me, so help me." Let me see if I just want to get deeply saddened by this senseless act of gun violence. So yeah, he did. I mean, he must have just misheard what happened. But that's the thing. They're all on automatic. You know, they're on automatic, you know, Democrat talking points, senseless gun violence. You go, wait, the guy was attacking people with a knife. And the cop shot him. That's not a senseless act of gun violence. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry. You know, this guy's still probably drinking after the loss. You know, senseless act. What is it? Gun violence? Something I don't know. Just don't mention Islam. That's all. That's all I can remember from being a Democrat candidate. And then there was another guy, a civil rights guy, who says, how is it that when a white man shoots a black man, we decide he's a hero? that was another tweet. It's like, yeah, I think it's because he's a hero. I mean, I think that's what it was. All right, we're going to talk some more about this because it really does get absurd, and it really is worth looking at the way this was covered and the way it's discussed. But first, we have to say goodbye. We have to say goodbye to our friends on Facebook and YouTube, and come on over to the Daily Wire and subscribe so you can be in tomorrow's mailbag and ask your questions, and who knows, we may even get you a date.